Whenever we see you guys, we always have a problem because basically we stumble across all the questions and you guys have to work your way through excuses or just say you can't find out answers. So what I thought I'd do with this interview is just to front load the questions, the awkward questions, and then you can just rapid fire through if that's all right.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, so will there be any news concerning the release of the consumer edition of the Rift in the next 3 to 6 months?
We have nothing to announce at this time.
Are you likely to confirm any technical information concerning the CV1 in the next 3 to 6 months?
We have nothing to announce at this time.
How likely is it we're likely to hear more about your unconfirmed work with VR input devices at Oculus Connect?
So you'll probably hear more about it. We're going to be talking about everything we're doing at Connect.
Okay. Okay, fine. Well, that was it. So there, hopefully the awkward questions, doubtless there's going to be some other ones anyway. So, anyway, with that out of the way, congratulations on the DK2 launch.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think you must be a relief that it's over and done with. Or at least, I know you're still shipping them out, but the initial rushes of release.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to actually have it going out the door. I think for us, the challenge right now is just polishing it and getting it tuned and tightened. It's definitely cutting edge hardware right now, and people are cutting themselves on the rough edges, so we're polishing it and tuning it, and the SDK definitely had some speed bumps along the way, but it's coming together well.
How many units have you shipped so far?
About 20,000.
Okay. So are you ramping them up now? Are you sort of throwing them up real quickly?
We've been ramping them full time.
Yeah, it's been good. Okay. So we've taken, I think, about 60,000 pre-orders, and we've shipped about 20,000, so. Yeah. So you, as you alluded to, the first couple of weeks of the DK2 public life is, well, it's not even public life because it should be the developers, so I shouldn't even call it public life, that's not fair, but with the SDK 0 was perhaps, I think you guys held it back, you held the issue of DK2 shipments back because you wanted to work more on it. Clearly, it feels like you needed more time. Is that the case? I'm being diplomatic, but I think some people were expecting, and again, they're obviously going to develop this, they shouldn't expect a final polished piece of hardware, but ultimately the developers got the units and they were complaining, there were some complaints about the way they perform. Yeah.
Do you feel that, I know you released 041 a couple of days ago, do you feel that you've got over most of the speed bumps you were talking about? Or?
I think we still have a lot of speed bumps still to polish. I think that, yeah, you're absolutely right. We did hold back the release of the DK2 initial shipment.
By 1 week.
By 1 week. It was. So that we could, or at least by 1 week.
That was a long week.
Yes, by 1 week. And you know, we had said we were going to ship in July. So then we kind of set this intermediate date that we were like, okay, we're going to really try to ship by the middle of July. And of course, by setting that date, we kind of stabbed ourselves, you know, in the foot, shot ourselves in the foot. But we did hold the release 1 week beyond that date to polish the SDK. Most of that time.
Still did ship in July.
Yes. Well, and we still had time to spare for shipping in July. But that release still had a bunch of polish problems. Mostly what we were doing that week, aside from some, it was mostly bug fixes in QA. And we knew we had a bunch of features that were still missing. We knew we had integration polish left to do. UE4 was particularly screwed up. So yeah, we rushed it out the door so that we could get it out there because we really didn't want people to have it in their hands. We didn't want to hold it too much longer. And of course, when people got it, they're like, oh my God, none of the games work with it because people haven't recompiled yet and all these issues. And obviously, we were running into issues on our driver stack and things like that. But the team at home has been crunching basically non-stop to polish it and get it to the point where we want it to be.
Do you have like Red Bull on drip or something?
Coffee. A lot of coffee on drip. But I think we're making a lot of good progress. We still have a lot of work to do. Like I said before, it's definitely cutting edge hardware, it's developer hardware. And we definitely apologize to the people, especially in that first batch, that got it and suffered through the early testing. Thank you all for you know, the bug feedback and all the critical feedback that helping us improve faster. Even some bug fixes that have come in. So we'll get there.
Do you find that, given the fact that you guys did an immeasurably, I'm not going to say better job, because when you were shipping the DK1, you guys were much smaller, you weren't as experienced with getting this stuff out the door. DK2, it's been a huge step change in getting the stuff out the door, basically. Do you feel a little bit frustrated that despite the amount of work that you've done, you still see that negative feedback going back to say, oh, I haven't got mine, you promised it in July,
No, people are always going to bitch.
Well, and it's, you know, it's one of the...
that we could do a perfect job and it would still happen, and especially because we're shipping a product that isn't a consumer product and, you know, has lots of work to polish. You know, we're shipping something that still has problems.
Yeah.
And some people are going to be upset about that no matter what you do.
And to be honest, I also think it's the blessing and the curse of having such an awesome, passionate community. Like, they are so fired up and excited about it, and we want to get it to you guys. And at some point, those two worlds sometimes collide, and we're like, we should ship as fast as we can. And it's always been about getting the hardware and the software out as fast as we can.
Yeah.
So
it's not like we're holding it to build stock or anything. We're
yeah.
shipping it as fast as we make it.
But it's completely okay, and we're happy with things.
So I mean, with the SDK 040, you separate out with the SDK and you have the driver server, the Oculus
runtime.
Thank you, Oculus runtime, which obviously takes care of a situation you have with DK2, because not only is it a smartphone display that is in portrait, but also you need to take care of local assistance, and you want a low latency pipeline to the display. I assume that to do that, you're doing some clever interception injection techniques at the driver level to say basically for direct mode,
yes.
I know you want this, I'm going to throw it to the Rift. Is that the case?
And we're bypassing the Windows Display Manager for direct mode.
Did that cause you particular headaches when you were developing?
It's been a lot of effort by a lot of different people, and like I said, not all the kinks are worked out yet.
Okay.
But ultimately, we think it is the best path forward in terms of the Rift support and the SDK implementation. So the short-term pain is for a longer-term gain.
Also, I'd say that it's been hard to develop, but it hasn't caused pain in other development. It's been a really useful feature. It's actually made it a lot less painful.
So you haven't found that it's caused hiccups with any other low-level software that might help you?
The whole point is that it bypasses all of those problems. So any, whatever issues it does have, they're going to be less than trying to go through all of the other layers of the operating system.
So you've been showing DK2 for a while now. Given the experiences of a huge step up from DK2 to DK, so DK1 to DK2, have you had any particular favorite reactions from people that you've showed to? Anyone fainted or?
There have been some really good reactions. I've really enjoyed reading a lot of the reactions on Reddit, especially to Elite Dangerous. A couple of tears, I think, were shed on the subreddit about Elite Dangerous and DK2, so that's been fun. What about you?
I have no favorites. It's just good to see everybody using it.
Yeah, I agree.
So how long, I mean, in terms of when getting the DK2 hardware out the door, in terms of you knowing that you could get hold of the hardware and the turnaround time, how quick was it? How much time was it from the initial realizing you had the specification down to you actually having to ship the kit out? Did you know what it was? Because obviously we saw Crystal Cove in January. Did you know then what the DK2 hardware would be like? And then
Crystal Cove is almost identical to DK2, so it was around that time.
Yeah, maybe even slightly before that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, Palmer, how much time you've spent at the Smash Brothers stand since you've been here?
Not very much, although I've been playing the new Super Smash Brothers at all the shows I go to. So if you win a match, the 4-player matches, you get a shirt. So I won a shirt at E3, and then I won the Anime Expo shirt, and then I won the Comic-Con shirt. And so I need to come here and win the Gamescom shirt, and I'll have collected all 4.
And they'll never invite you back ever again. You could just go around and invite.
I've actually had really good luck. I've won every match that I've played.
He beat me out.
Just barely. We went to sudden death, and then we both were flailing around like we had no idea what we're doing. And then, yeah,
he lucked out.
I did luck out. I really did luck out.
He's been gracious, I think. So you've got Oculus Connect.
No, if I wouldn't have lucked out, I would say so.
Have you got so Oculus Connect is coming up?
Yes.
September. From what we can tell, and I think you made this fairly clear, it's a developer-oriented.
Extremely developer-oriented.
Notice that. So in terms of what's going to be there, what kind of how are you going to work it? Are there going to be sessions that developers are broken out into, or is it anything like GDC?
Yes.
It'll be more like.
Excellent.
So I think we're going to release the schedule pretty soon. We actually have it already mostly nailed down. We've just been putting the final touches on it, making sure everyone can attend. For the most part, it's going to be Oculus people doing presentations about different aspects of the SDK, or things we're working on, or best practices, and that sort of thing. We're also going to lead with a couple interesting keynotes that people aren't going to want to miss. So it should be a really fun show. There will also be a lot of time just spent either socializing with fellow developers and Oculus engineers or getting feedback on your games and applications from the team. So it should be a really awesome conference. We really encourage everyone working in the space to attend. But most people have already been approved, so...
Well, I was going to ask you, so in terms of people who haven't got their invites right now, how, if there are delays or delay in invites being sent out?
Delays? The invites have been rolling out. The majority of attendees are spoken for.
Yes.
There are very few that have not rolled out yet. We've been rolling them out in batches to make sure a few bug fixes on the invitation deployment system. But there's very few left that haven't gone out. So at some point we're going to need to send one out to everyone that didn't make it in and tell them you did not make it in.
I think most people have already been notified that they've been waitlisted. But the challenge for us is we wanted to do a developer conference, but we also wanted to start small. There's no way we could just invite.
So how many people are we talking about? How many places are there?
So in total, we're going to have about somewhere between 800 and 1,200 attendees.
Okay. I think we're just over 1,000, and that's maxing out the capacity of what we were able to do in the venue.
Exactly.
And it's not like we can just say, oh, let's do more, because you book these things many, many months in advance and make huge deposits on the spaces.
And it's actually, it is...
and we wouldn't want to have like a 5,000 person show right off the bat. It's not something we want to manage.
It is an attendance, like a capacity limit that we've set, not on like, hey, we can pay more money. It's like the building can hold no more people.
The building was rented out months ago.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where we're going to start small. It probably won't be perfect. We'll probably make some mistakes, learn from our mistakes, and grow from there. So we're really excited, and we really appreciate all the interest from the developer community. And we'll definitely grow the event as we go. And we're going to live stream at least the initial keynote, so that should be great. We'll see about the sessions. That's still up in the air.
The sessions are difficult to all live stream because especially if there's multiple sessions going on. It's very hard to have multiple things all live streaming.
But everything will be recorded. Yeah, we'll go from there, and
we'll get the videos out as quickly as we can.
Absolutely.
So in terms of, I guess there's a balance to strike between the size of the event, the number of people you get, and you want that intimacy, I guess, from people that mix with each other, so that you can have that kind of like.
We want that fitting within fire code.
Exactly.
That's really what we're aiming for.
Yeah.
So are you going to go deep dive? I presume there are going to be sessions that dive down to the lowest level at Oculus Connect, and can you talk about any other things that maybe you talked about?
The session list will come out pretty soon, and that should have descriptions for all the sessions.
But it'll be all across the board.
Yeah, there will be some high level creating content, designing, and low level SDKs.
It'll be comprehensive.
Well said.
And was it over there? So was it 2 days, 3 days?
It's 2 days. The first day is pretty condensed, pretty short. It's like there's 3 sessions plus I think Palmer's welcoming address and some other things. And then the second day is pretty packed. And so the second day is really the key day, and the first day is like a mixer and dinner and some of that stuff.
Okay. It's been 12 months since I saw you guys here at Gamescom. It's been a hell of a 12 months. It feels like a lot longer in many ways. If you had to sum up the last 12 months since the last Gamescom, you could use either a number of words or an exclamation if you like to. How would you do it? How would you describe the last 12 months?
Exhilarating.
Brutal.
I think those are
the two sides.
Fair contrast.
I think they're both true.
I agree.
It's been a real blast working on all this stuff and getting it out. At the same time, everyone's just totally jamming all the time to make it happen. It's like where people just see a 1 week delay of DK2, that's actually like 72 hours of being in the office.
For a lot of people.
Yeah.
So, a lot of man hours.
Yeah, so however bad everyone else feels, we're always on the other side trying to make things happen as fast as we can.
Yeah.
I was going to ask some more about DK2. In terms of how do you feel that because now that the DK2 is out of this house, the display is obviously you can now move to a pentile OLED matrix, and there's pros and cons, huge pros and some cons. So how do you feel people have reacted to that? Because obviously you went from a very low resolution LCD panel, and now you've got a high resolution OLED panel. Have people commented on that? Because I know whenever you saw people, it was like, oh, I can see the screen door, and now it's a different matrix. So you get
it's mostly good feedback. In fact, I'd say like 99% of the people think it's a huge improvement, except for a few people who are opposed to that subpixel layout, mainly on principle.
Do you get people that are militant about pentile displays?
Given an arbitrary amount of subpixels, it is the superior pixel layout. So
it gets better the higher resolution you go, therefore, because you notice the subpixel layout less.
Well, I mean, it's a more efficient. If you only have a certain number of subpixels that you can cram into a display, RGB stripe is not the most efficient distribution of them. It's a wasteful distribution because it's giving just as much data to the red and blue channels that your eyes aren't even as sensitive to. Okay. So if you're trying to if you're trying to get the most out of a certain number of subpixels, pentile is a superior layout. Now, if you're saying 1080p pentile versus 1080p RGB stripe, yes, 1080p RGB stripe is going to have more pixels, but that's not really the question. It should be how many subpixels are on that panel and what's the overall pixel density. And so given that pixel density, would you rather have the pixels going to pentile or going to RGB stripe? And I think every time, especially for VR, it's going to be pentile.
So do you think that's going to be the case going forward? I mean,
we can't say.
Okay. I mean, I know that you guys are looking. I think you commented on the fact that you want to increase the FOV at some point for the consumer version. Does that mean then that you're going to need to go with a custom panel?
We can't say.
There's a lot of different options.
Okay. Do you have any sort of target for FOV? Is there any minimum? Is there any minimum FOV you can shoot for? Is what we have now?
I guess DK1.
So you would never go below DK1?
It's a complex topic. I mean, field of view is not just one number, it's multiple numbers, and it's a mix between the total overall field of view, the binocular overlap, the monocular field of view. It's not an easy thing to just say, yes, the one number will be this.
I know there's a lot of things, and me included actually when I first got it, which was because with the DK1 so you start like shoving it up against your eyelashes, and then when you do that, you see the edges of the panel, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's a less one. I mean, have you had feedback on the FOV with the DK2, that it's less preferable, or is
most of it
misinformed in the way that
the people complaining it's largely a perception thing, where lenses are larger, which means you can see the edge of the display. People are equating that and comparing it to the physically limited field of view of DK1 and concluding that it is thus much lower. It's actually very similar.
You fairly happy with the camera positional tracking, and people react to that okay? Have the developers come on board okay? Have they got to grips with the positional tracking fairly easily?
I think
depends on the developer. The good devs, yeah.
No, I think so for the most part. I think we still have plenty of issues to nail down. It's one of those things. It's like the camera-based solution still has its own challenges and flaws and drawbacks, but it has a huge amount of positives as well.
And it's by far the best solution.
Yeah, exactly.
People can speculate all day, oh, they should have invented this magic technology that didn't have these drawbacks. That technology does not exist.
Yeah.
It does not.
I know that you guys have just about explored every avenue that possibly is. Yeah. I'm just seeing pictures of your offices and seeing all the different motion capture services. Yeah. How many solutions do you think if you had to put a ballpark figure, like a rough idea of how many different tracking solutions? Everything there is out there.
Every tracking technology basically every tracking technology that exists has been evaluated.
Have you seen the creative aspect of the positional tracking come to the fore since the guys have pursued the DK2? So people doing unexpected things with the positional tracking. So Luckey Tale's a good example of a game where you can, a 3D platform game where you can look around and find secrets and stuff like that. Have you seen any other examples of that?
I don't think so yet, personally. Maybe Palmer disagrees, but I think it's just because we just started shipping the kits, and there's only a third of the ones pre-ordered out there. And so
it's been out there for single-digit weeks.
Exactly. So I expect in the next 2, 3, 4 months, we'll see a huge swell of new ideas that leverage positional tracking.